This is Armed American Radio's Daily Defense.
Armed American Radio's Daily Defense, because they don't want me to, that's why I do it.
Presented by the National Rifle Association. From the CZ Studios.
They're never going to stop us here.
Here is your host, the loudest conservative voice in America fighting the enemies of freedom, Mark Walters.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Armed American Radio's Daily Defense begins right now. Mark Walters in the CZ Studios here in front of the Patriot Mobile microphone at the Patriot Mobile Ranch. And it's all being brought to you by the National Rifle Association. Here's where we're at. We're live on Facebook.com/Armed American Radio, X at AAR Mark, formerly known as Twitter, YouTube at Armed American Radio, and Rumble at Armed American Radio. You can participate in the chat by visiting the Telegram messaging app and signing up over there and searching for Armed American Radio Conversations. Let's get started today with Paul Markel, student of the gun. Paul, how are you out in the beautiful state of Wyoming, my brother? Bobby, I have no, do we have Paul there? Let's bring Paul in here so I can hear Paul.
Try again.
All right, let's try it again. Paul, you got me? There we are.
I'm here.
I can hear you there. You could hear me. I just couldn't hear you. How you doing in beautiful Wyoming, Paul? Student of the gun. SOTGU.com, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, to check out everything. Paul Markel, how you doing, brother?
Hold on. He just dropped down. Right. He just dropped down. Hold on.
Okay. There we go. All right. Come back to me. We have a little issue here. We got you. I can hear you now.
Yeah, I'm here. I don't.
All right. It's not you. It's not you. We got it. We're all good on this end. So, Paul.
It's not you. It's me.
It's not you. It's me. No, I'll take responsibility there. I don't know who it is. I don't really care. I'm just glad we got you. On a Friday, as always. Paul, I don't know if you said, I've been looking forward to talking with you about this today. Now, does this have anything to do with guns, what we're getting ready to talk about, ladies and gentlemen? I'll let you make up your own mind. The answer to this is yes, but I want you to hear it, and I want you to hear this conversation. James Carville, you know who Corporal Q-Ball is, do you not, Paul?
Oh, the Lizard King.
The Lizard King. I don't know if you saw this story, but Carville, and I'll read a Fox News headline, and there have been a number of headlines about this, but I'll read the Fox News. Carville calls on Democrats to unilaterally pack Supreme Court, create new blue states to save democracy. Did you happen to see this?
I was scrolling through X and I saw a picture of the Lizard King, and I paused and I was taken back all the way back to the 90s. You know, I was transported back in time to the 90s when that scumbag was on the news almost daily.
Yeah, well,
isn't it time for him to just shut up and retire?
Yeah, he should have a long time ago. But what I found fascinating about this is, well, there's a lot fascinating about this, but I do want to pick this apart because, ladies and gentlemen, it has everything to do with your gun rights. Remember, this is the party that wants to take your guns. This is the party that has made you sick and tired of hearing the word democracy, Paul. How many times? I wish I had $1 for every time. I'll take a nickel for every time the Democrats have used the word democracy because Trump got elected, because they don't like the fact that they lost an election, which in fact is the democratic process in the form of a constitutional republic, which the Democrats do not acknowledge ever that in fact we are. But in order to save democracy, they want to create one party, unilaterally create one party rule to shut the other party out of power to save democracy. Do you want to try to explain this one for me?
Well, no, it's more of the same. It's literally your enemy accusing you of that which they do. You know, it's like this no kings ridiculous nonsense. You know, they send their useful idiots out to cry, no kings, you know, blah, blah, blah. It's like, really? You're the same people that didn't have a problem with your government putting you on house arrest for a cold.
Right.
Or shutting down and destroying your businesses, or forcing your children and your spouses into an untested medical experiment. You didn't have a problem with that. As a matter of fact, they're the same people that were carping about it needs to just be mandatory. The shots need to be mandatory. We just need to force people to take them.
Well, they
I mean, in other
how many jobs did people lose over this? Let me read a part of this for you, and let's kind of try to break this down a little bit because it's a lot of fun. Democratic strategist James Carville urged on Wednesday, that was just a couple days ago, folks, that Democrats open Pandora's box and execute multiple controversial power grabs to save democracy, including, get this, establishing a permanent electoral majority the next time they gain power. Let's just start right there. Is a permanent majority, electoral majority, democracy? Now, we got to be careful with the way because democracy is literally majority rule. And they want to create a permanent majority and wipe out the other 49%. So I guess we could argue, yeah, that is what they want to do. We are not a pure democracy. How many times have you said it on this program? We are what? Remind people.
We're a constitutional republic. And people are like, well, what's the difference? It's like, well, in a pure democracy, which everybody, we learned when you're a little child. See, when you're a little child, when you have the brain of a child, that seems very attractive to you. It's like, that's fair. You take an 8 or 9 year old and you're like, well, what's fair? And they're like, oh, well, if the most votes, that's fair. Okay, cool. And then, but if you had an intelligent person, you say, okay, well, what if the majority votes to take away your property, or to curtail your behavior,
which
or
they can
to
do.
Close your business,
which they can do?
And they're like, well, that's not fair. Like, yeah, but no. Our founders were very intelligent people, despite what the left says. The left, on one hand or one side of their mouth, they're like, democracy, democracy. And the other side, they're like, oh, the founders were all racists. And if they weren't racist, they were all dummies. And none of them had college educations or whatever. I would put the education of the average founder up against a doctorate level person today, especially in the last several years.
Most of them were Harvard educated when Harvard was a school, not an indoctrination camp, oldest campus on American soil. But I want to, I find this fascinating for a number of different reasons. And I want you to think about this, ladies and gentlemen, in the context of your gun rights. Because as we've said before, Paul, and I think we've talked about it a number of times, that if the Democrats had won the election last November, they would have put their boot on your neck. And they will take your guns. That's exactly what they want to do. So here's more about what Carville had to say. The Democrats talk about democracy, the importance of democracy, and preserving democracy, and saving democracy. Well, the truth of the matter is, people are right when they say this democracy is really imperfect. Now, here's what Carville is telling us. He is saying the quiet part out loud. He is screaming it from the rooftops with a megaphone. What he is saying is, when he says the truth of the matter is people are right when they say this democracy is really imperfect, he's saying we lost an election. We don't like the results. We don't accept the results. So when we gain power again, which he thinks is possible, that they can sweep a trifecta in 2028, this is what he wants them to do.
Good luck.
Well, maybe. However, this is what he wants to do. This is the danger. Make the power grab, open Pandora's box. You will put the political opponent to bed permanently, and he would be right about that. Think of the state of California from the perspective of Republicans who have nothing. They're just there. They can't do anything. That's what he wants for the nation. What do you think they'll do with your guns when that happens? With gun control, what do you think they'll do there?
We're right up against the break, aren't we?
Yeah, we're coming up against the break.
I know we're right up against the break. Well, when we get back,
take us to the music.
Well, all right.
Got 90 seconds.
We have 90 seconds.
I talked to Jared, and he said, let's do something special for Mark's audience. So listen up. If you would like to go to SOTGU and start your distance learning home study, nice. You can sign up for any of the distance learning home study products right now. Use the promo code AAR and get 15% off your enrollment. Go ahead and do it.
All right. We'll take that to the break. Let me push that again. SOT, because he surprised me with that when I knew he was talking about it, but I didn't know he was going to hit us with it live now. So let's do it. SOTGU.com. The distance learning training, folks, which you've heard Paul talk about. We come back, we'll go there. We're going to continue the conversation, no less. But we will go back to this because this is the distance learning where you can start training with Paul immediately. The promo code, as they all are, is AAR. You will get 15% off. 15% off right out of the gate. Again, that is SOTGU.com. The distance learning using the promo code AAR. Take 15% right off the top immediately. Put it to use. You don't have to go anywhere. You can do it all at home. It's all on your own time. Paul Markel, student of the gun. We'll be back. We have him for 3 more segments as we wind up your work week on a Friday on Armed American Radio's Daily Defense. We'll be right back after the break. Hey, guys, I got Bobby on the line with us. Of course Bobby's on the line. He's running the show. This is Bobby Belt, ladies.
Sort of. I wasn't running it earlier. Again,
Bobby was doing just fine. We're not going to be hard. But if you guys want to know what happened at the beginning, I was telling him that you guys like to hear some of this stuff behind the scenes. It's kind of, Bobby, they call it the sausage.
Oh, yeah, but how the sausage is made, yeah.
What exactly happened? Because it's kind of cool to listen to.
So our audio automation system creates what's called a mix minus. It's so that you can talk and it won't echo back to you. So it basically says, here's the mix without you in it. That's why it's called mix minus you.
It pulls out the loop, ladies and gentlemen. So I'm not hearing myself in a 3-second delay, driving myself crazy, talking like this, because the human mind cannot comprehend that. Go ahead.
So because you weren't getting a mix minus, I noticed it wasn't getting to you, even though it was routed before we started the show. I ran in the other room and I said, hold on, I'm going to do a reset real quick, get the mix minus there. So I did the reset. When you do the reset, sometimes the board essentially falls asleep if you don't reset the board with it. It's like it needs a fresh restart with it. So what happened was, even though it was in the mix minus feed on the board, I didn't tap it on and off again to like kind of wake it back up. And so because of that, you weren't hearing him initially. So that didn't get the feed down to you. And so what happened was, once I did that, then I think he was just at that point confused as to why you couldn't hear him, and that's what caused the additional layout. But the initial reason why you didn't hear was because I didn't reset the board properly.
You know, and I'd rather not hear him than hear me twice. Okay.
Sure. But you, in theory, you'd just like to hear all of it correct the first time.
Yeah, you know, it's interesting. I remember Alan Gottlieb was on Fox TV one time a number of years ago. They had a mix minus issue, and Alan was battling through it. He was hearing himself.
Yeah, that's tough. We're back in 30, by the way.
He made it through a 7-minute segment without missing a beat. The Fox people were apologizing.
Yeah, if you'd like an example of what it sounds like, if they want an example of what it sounds like, I'll show them right now. Here,
go for it.
Start talking, Mark.
All right, here we go, ladies and gentlemen. See now, for me to continue the show under those conditions is near impossible.
Yeah, so I just took it out. That's what happens if you put that in your ear. And we're coming back now.
Roger that. Fun stuff, guys. The following segment of Armed American Radio's Daily Defense is being brought to you by Patriot Mobile. Visit patriotmobile.com/AAR and use the AAR promo code to get free activation today. Welcome back to the show. Yeah, welcome back to the show. If you're watching on your devices, your TVs, or anything like that, as long as you're not driving, please. I'm holding up a Patriot Mobile activated phone, and I will be conducting interviews at the Gun Owners of America convention tomorrow on the floor of the convention at the Patriot Mobile booth. And attorneys on retainer, and we're going to talk to some other fun people that you haven't heard on the program before, a couple of them, and some others that you have heard. We'll see how many people we can get there for the day. AAR Hawkins from Breitbart News will be in the house, probably late, so I don't know that we'll get him there live, but that's okay. Regardless, you will hear us on Sunday's program with these taped interviews coming to you from the Patriot Mobile Command Center, and this is a Patriot Mobile phone. You can do the same thing. It's real simple. patriotmobile.com/AAR. Activate a phone, a line. You don't have to do them all at one time. You can do them piecemeal like I'm doing here at the ranch. And that way, you start giving your money to a company that is on the floor of the Gun Owners of America convention, providing you outstanding cell service and supporting your gun rights. That is a win-win all the way around. So take advantage of that. You can find patriotmobile.com, Patriot Mobile at armedamericanradio.com. I'll get that out. Mix minus in my own head going on here right now. Guys, so let's go back to Paul Markel, student of the gun. Check out all of our partners at armedamericanradio.com. Paul, welcome back, brother. Go back into that SOTGU since you put that out there. I don't want to I want to stay on that while we're on that topic because this is the distance learn.
Okay.
We've talked about it before. Go for it. Then we'll go back to Carville.
Yes, sir. So after we were on the radio together last Sunday, got together with Jared on our Monday morning team meeting, and he created that. He just got in there and did the behind the scenes, computer magic, and created a special promo code for your listeners so that they could start learning right now and save themselves some money while they do it. And of course, we have live training classes. We're not trying to say that that's all you should do. You definitely need to get out. You need to get to an actual class. But in the meantime, you can get started right now. And, what we've created is a program by having our live in-person training and our home study distance learning that gives people the opportunity to get comfortable with the subject before they show up. So they're not showing up blind, And the other thing that we're trying to avoid is, what tradition has been is people will sign up for a class somewhere and then they'll wait. And while they're waiting, they go onto YouTube and they start trying to find helpful hints on YouTube so they can go out, quote, practice on their own before they go to the live class.
And pick up a lot of really bad habits.
Yeah, and get bad habits. So that's what we don't want to do. So we're like, well, you know what? You don't have to do that. You don't have to go to YouTube. You don't have to search around. Everything you need is right here at your fingertips.
Look, I love YouTube and stuff like that. I really do. You can get all kinds of fun stuff. I used it today looking for some instruction deals on some things I was working on, and it's great. You play a guitar. I've been playing guitar for 2.5 years now. Getting pretty good at it, by the way. And I have picked up a few bad habits by taking that route outside the realm of my personal instructor, right? And you know what you do? You bring those bad habits back to your class with you, all right, when you're taking your one-on-one instruction. And my instructor's great, and he'll look right at me and say, where'd you pick that up? He says, you were watching blank music on YouTube, weren't you? He says, don't do that. And it's the same thing with training, okay, because you do. You might pick up something, maybe it's a stance, whatever the nuance may be. Maybe it's in a process in clearing a jam, whatever it is. But you pick up that bad habit, you're going to show up in your class, and when you begin to teach that aspect, you're going to see somebody do it, and you're going to know as an instructor. No, we need to change that. Ladies and gentlemen, that's what the learning that we're talking about right now will stop from happening, okay? You'll see the way Paul's going to teach it when you physically get there, if you physically get there, and when you ever want to do that. So take advantage of that. Use the AAR promo code. What is it, 15% off right now out of the box?
Yes, sir.
All right, good deal. We'll go back to that. We'll go back to that before the show's over for sure. Now let's go back to Carville for a minute, because what we're talking about with James Carville is, I think when I say he's saying the quiet part out loud, he absolutely is. And I'm going to bet you, my dad would say when I was younger, you bet your bippy that there are Democrats in positions of power that are probably called him and told him to shut his mouth. Don't let that cat out of the bag. Ladies and gentlemen, this is what they have planned for you. The Democrats have been talking about packing the court. Why? The Supreme Court. They want it to be 13 justices. Why? So that they can appoint the 13 justices and keep a permanent left majority on the court. What do you think they'll do with that majority? Why would they want to do that, Paul? Because they don't like the decisions that they disagree with, which, back in the olden days, like 3 election cycles ago, maybe 4 election cycles ago, both parties understood that elections have consequences and that the winning party's president constitutionally selects and nominates Supreme Court justices. That's the way the system works in a constitutional republic. What is it the Democrats are afraid of? Loaded question.
Well, obviously they're afraid of they're afraid of the loss of power, but it used to be, we keep going back to this over and over again, and I feel like a broken record. But I also know that as soon as you convince yourself that everybody gets it, you don't need to say it anymore, you're going to encounter somebody that needs for you to say it. But this isn't the Democrats versus Republicans of when our dads were kids. When my dad was a kid, he was raised to believe that Democrat or Republican, both parties wanted what was best for the United States of America. They just had different ways of going about it.
They shared a different philosophy of how to get there. But we understood as kids, at least I grew up, and I think this is where you're going, that they all love their country. They just have a different way. We don't see that now. We see people who hate the country.
No, they're America haters. I mean, they literally hate the country that they're representatives of, and they want to destroy it. And we saw that for the last 4 years. They did everything they could. A good friend of mine said 4.5 years ago, he said Joe Biden was installed to do one thing, and that was destroy America, to break us down, to weaken us. And he did a good job of it. Look at our military. Our military was tremendously weakened under Joe Biden. Mm-hmm. Our people were demoralized. People were depressed and demoralized. He destroyed the economy. And we're still trying to recover from that.
Well, you had House Democrat Ramirez, who was in, I believe, Guatemala. Let me see if I can pull this up while we're talking. I believe she was in Guatemala. Claiming she is a proud Guatemalan before I'm an American. She said that in Guatemala, in Spanish, at the second annual Pan American Congress. Oh, she was in Mexico City is where it was, over the past weekend.
Oh, boy.
All right, now here's a sitting U.S. elected official who was not born in this country, claiming she is her own blood first before an American. She's an American lawmaker. She's telling us what to do and how to live as an American lawmaker, essentially declaring the other country first before America. How should we handle something like that? That's an interesting topic as well. We'll kind of combine that with furthering the discussion about James Carville and what it is the Democrats have in store for you. We'll go into some greater detail there. And I want you to think about your gun rights through this whole conversation. We'll be right back. 2 more segments with Paul.
I'll be right back.
Roger that. The following segment of Armed American Radio is proudly being brought to you by the National Rifle Association. Help us defend freedom by visiting nra.org/AAR and join today. Welcome back to the show. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, we need you to do that. This show is being brought to you every single day, 6 days a week by the National Rifle Association, and we're making some great progress, but we need to keep it up. We need numbers. Think about what you're hearing us talk about today and ask yourselves, if you're not a member of the National Rifle Association, why you're not a member of the National Rifle Association. That's how vital it is. You're hearing what the Democrats have in store for you, and that is to literally take everything away from you as far as censoring you, taking away your firearms, taking away any political power you have whatsoever, your voice, your vote, everything. They're saying the quiet part out loud now. They've been doing that. They've been edging towards that for years now. And now they're out, Carville's out saying it. And a lot of people in the Democrat Party respect James Carville. Like Paul, I think he just needs to go away. But I'm not a Democrat. But there are a lot of Democrats out there who agree with what he's saying. And as far as safeguarding your Second Amendment rights, National Rifle Association, you wouldn't have a Second Amendment the way you have it today. And we've still got a lot of work to do. But without the NRA, it wouldn't be there in the existence that it is today. So just join. It's $35, and I'm going to send you a free range bag if you sign up for 1 year or 3 years. I'm going to send you a pair of binoculars, super high-quality 10x42s with the case and the lens covers if you join for 5 years, or life membership. Take advantage of that while they're still there. They did allocate some more for us, so we've got some more. When it's all said and done, and they're gone, and they will be gone soon, one of you will win a second range bag, completely different range bag, filled with AAR swag from some of our other great partners. So we're going to send it to you now simply for joining. It's $35. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't care if you give them another $1. Just join and help us build these numbers. It is incredibly important. It's real simple. NRA.org/AAR. You'll see the photographs of what we're talking about here with the range bag and the binoculars and all that fun stuff. Join us as we move forward. We need your help moving forward. NRA.org/AAR. Paul, welcome back. We're talking, of course, with Paul Markel, student of the gun, regular on the program every Friday, and he now has his own segment on the weekend Sunday show as well. Paul Markel, welcome back, brother.
Well, if people needed an example of how dangerous Democrats are when they gain the majority, let's go out and look at California right now. So
great example.
We talked about this a couple of weeks ago about how the court struck down the 2016 ammo background check law, where California citizens could no longer have ammo shipped directly to their house. They had to go and pay for a separate background check, blah, 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 blah. So they struck it down, right? The court said, no, the law overreaches. The law infringes upon the Second Amendment. Brand new story. California ammo sales back on hold as state pushes for full court review. This is just more of the same.
Yeah, they'll never stop.
They'll never stop. It's like, how many times have we had, the magazine ban thing? A judge says, a panel or a judge, whatever, says, no, that your magazine ban, your waiting periods, your magazine ban, that's all unconstitutional. And, they have the supermajority in California. Like, you know what? We don't care. We're just going to go ahead and ignore you, and we're going to do whatever we want. Constitution be damned.
And folks,
that's
means
what they want for the whole country.
They want that for the country. California is a prime example of that. And there's some other interesting examples as well. Massachusetts, for example, has Republicans in it. 25, 30, 35% of the electorate votes Republican. There are no Republican districts and no Republicans represented in Massachusetts at all. So the reason this is coming up on the Democrats right now is because they're all, almost said an FCC unfriendly word, let's just say they're very upset at Texas right now. And folks, redistricting happens all the time. The Democrats have been gerrymandering and redistricting for decades. And all you've got to do is look at some of the districts in states like Illinois, Maryland's another example, like Massachusetts and others, that have Republicans in them that have zero representation whatsoever. California, they don't even need to because of the cities out there. But nonetheless, Gavin Newsom has already threatened to start drawing districts again to create more Democrat House seats. They're all ticked off right now because Trump, this all brings this into perspective. you asked this question before, Paul. You and I have talked about it many times. It's hard for us to wrap our heads around why Joe Biden would open the borders to this country and flood it with illegal aliens from around the world, including the worst of the worst. Why? The census. And this becomes clear. Now, you see why they're very upset about Donald Trump right now. Donald Trump wants to clean up the census, and he's going to. And he's going to remove illegal aliens. Why? Because of representation and seats in Congress, ladies and gentlemen. This is just another ploy by the Democrats to gain complete and total power to do exactly what James Carville is talking about. And the Democrats have talked about it openly. They talked about it prior to Trump's election in November, Paul. We need to pack the Supreme Court because we don't like the decisions that are coming. We need to make Puerto Rico a state, make D.C. a state. Folks, I can't tell you how dangerous this is, because this is the party that if they can achieve this, and they're not going to stop. When you heard Paul say, Ryan Petty on this program, Parkland Dad, he's famous for it. The left will never stop. Bumper sticker, right? The left will never stop, and they won't. Gun violence victim Gabby Gifford says she and other gun law advocates are not backing down. She was speaking in Colorado. They will never quit until they attain their ultimate goal, which is to achieve 100% absolute power. And with that comes your complete and total disarmament. Don't believe me? See 28th Amendment, Paul, proposed by none other than Gavin Newsom, a Democrat, which would have nullified the Second Amendment. That should scare the bejesus out of everybody, including Democrats, if there are any left that have a conscience, Paul.
Yeah, they don't, though. They don't have a conscience because they have an inability to think clearly because their brains are malnourished and they're poisoned. And let's face facts. We've got literally a country full of useful idiots that'll just do whatever the TV, or it's not even the TV anymore. They'll do whatever their phone tells them to do. They wake up every day and they start staring at their phone, and whatever their phone tells them to be annoyed about or offended about or whatever, upset about, that's what they're going to be upset about. And they can't rationalize it. They can't explain it. They have no basis in reality. It's all emotional driven, and it's all done on purpose.
Yeah.
They're set up to be emotionally driven on purpose by their diets and their behaviors and so forth. So we can never let off. We talk about this all the time. England is the perfect example of how the left, how gun control, there'll never be enough gun control. In England, you are absolutely forbidden not only to carry a gun, you can own a very select few. But even if you own it and at 2 o'clock in the morning, 3 crackheads kick in your door,
you're going to jail.
Not allowed to use that gun to defend yourself and your family. If you do, they'll arrest you, and they have. And so, they've got 100% gun control in England now, so what are they doing? Well, that didn't work. People are still being robbed and raped and murdered and so forth. So what are they going to do? Oh, we're going to ban pointy knives. There's no reason anyone needs to have a knife with a point on it in their home. Like, are you serious?
Yeah, they're serious.
And the thing is, they are serious.
They are serious. But here's my question for Carville. This is an angle here that you got to be a little bit careful talking about, which is why we're not going to be careful talking about it. Is James Carville too stupid to understand that Americans fought and died for their freedom and will do so again if a power play like that is attempted in this country? Does James Carville not understand that?
Well, here's what he knows. He knows that he has a large percentage of basically brainwashed slaves. He knows that. And what they're betting on is they're betting on American apathy. They're betting on that.
And it exists, sadly, but it's a question that needs to be asked. We'll explore it when we come back. Does James Carville, has he not figured out what the response would be to that level of power grab in this country? What do you think would happen? We'll be right back.
All clear.
This segment is brought to you by Attorneys on Retainer. Get the only self-defense program for gun owners backed by a real law firm, the Attorneys for Freedom. Visit them online at attorneysonretainer.us. Welcome back. I'm holding up my Attorneys on Retainer card for those of you who are watching the show. For those of you who are listening, you'll just have to take my word for it, but I am holding it up. Here it is. There it is. You can hear it on the microphone. It's a credit card size. Attorneys on Retainer. Nice card. The Attorneys for Freedom Law Group. Ladies and gentlemen, of all the partners we've had over many, many years on this program, they're all no-brainers. All of them, because they're just great people. They're great companies. They support the show. They support you. They support your rights and your freedoms. And their products are all top-notch. That's why we're with them, and vice versa. This one here is no doubt between the National Rifle Association and Attorneys on Retainer. These are the two absolute no-brainers. If you're a gun owner and you carry a firearm for self-defense, you're talking about the possibility you understand and accept that evil exists and that you might have to use deadly force to defend yourself. And if there's an investigation, which there's going to be, no matter how clean the shoot was, you're going to want an attorney. And you're not going to want a free one. And you're not going to want to look back and say, man, I've been listening to that guy for years. I can't believe I didn't do that. I thought about it. And now you're looking at mortgaging everything you have and losing everything you have. And trust me when I tell you, every attorney out there, not one of them is going to have a problem by putting a lien on your home, folks. Okay? It's not necessary. Attorneys on Retainer is $35 a month. And when you use the AAR promo code, you get $50 off the sign up. And just like every single member of my family, you have an attorney-client privilege and an entire team of lawyers working on you and your right to self-defense. It's the only thing they specialize in. That's all they do is self-defense law. Ladies and gentlemen, they stepped in when the USCCA failed miserably, and they're the ones now who are supporting and defending Kayla Giles after the Louisiana Supreme Court overturned her murder conviction. Think about that. Had she had this to begin with, she would have never been in the slammer, but she was walked away from. It's like a gun that you're not sure is going to go bang when you need it to go bang. Are you going to trust it? This you can trust. No-brainer, just do it. It's $35 a month. It's kind of, you know, you wonder why somebody wouldn't do that. I can't imagine when it's there for you at that money. You have a team of attorneys. It's real simple. attorneysonretainer.us/AAR. $50 off the sign up, $35 a month, $25 per person for your family. Make sure to do that, okay? Take care of that. Get it done. Stop thinking about it and just do it, all right? If you have to dig in the couch for this, do it. If you have to put something else off, put it off. This is too critical not to take advantage of, okay? All right. All of our partners, by the way, you can find them all at armedamericanradio.com. They're all great. We're going to be hanging with Barrel Buddy, Ammo Square, and a few new ones that are popping on board this weekend at the Gun Owners of America convention. So if you're there, stop by the Patriot Mobile booth, say hey, I'll be all over the floor. Come shake my paw, can't wait to meet you. Paul Markel, let's get back to it. Does Carville not think that we won't fight this? And by fight, you know exactly what I mean. I mean fight.
Oh, yeah. I've had this conversation with a couple of friends here recently talking about the situation where it seems like they're willing to push us to, right over the edge to the abyss,
They're trying.
And a friend of mine, he goes, do they really believe that they can get away with it? And, the truth is, Mark, we have to ask, why shouldn't they believe that? They stole the election in 2020. They're like, oh, come on, get over it. No, there's no getting over it. There was Joe Biden got more votes than any president in the history of the United States. Yeah. Where did that extra 11 million voters go?
I think it's more than 11 million. I think it's closer to 20 million, and they're gone. All of a sudden, they just disappeared. They didn't show up in 2024.
Go? Yeah, we're expected to believe that these, umpteen millions of voters who came out during the pandemic and they voted for Joe Biden because he was the future of America. Blah, 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 blah. And then 4 years later, they're minus 20 million voters. Mm-hmm. How is that? How does that happen? It happens because you lied. It happens because and they got away with it. That is the thing. consequences for behavior, Mark, it brings us right back there. When Democrats, when there are no consequences for their behavior, and I just saw a video today, it was a video compilation of Democrat elected officials going to the microphone in 2020 and 21 and 22. The vaccine is 100% tested and 100% safe.
Yeah.
You take the shot and you won't get sick.
Yeah.
Derp. They lied.
Yeah.
They
Joe Biden yelled at you
and
he yelled at you in a microphone. I mean,
you don't wagging their fingers at us, telling us. And they lied. They knew they were lying. They absolutely knew they were lying. But none of them have been held accountable.
No, they've all got pardons now. Fauci got away with it.
They all got away with it. And so they really believe that they can create an autocracy, this totalitarian state, and get away with it. Because, hey, let's face it, look what they got away with.
Well, here's a question for you.
They locked people in their homes.
Here's a question for you. The reason the Democrats are so emboldened by a lot of what they say is because for so many years they've had mainstream media doing their bidding. And I question, when you have the media doing your bidding and you have that support from that very powerful entity, the Fourth Estate, okay, it's hard not to think you can get away with it. But I question in today's day and age if the media would even go that far. I'm not sure.
That's why that's why they're having tantrums. Have you noticed how Doge cut out hundreds of millions of dollars of waste, fraud, and abuse? And now all of a sudden, these these talk show hosts, they're like, oh man, this show's losing money. Oh, why is it losing money? Oh, because our graft is gone. Our free money is gone. Yeah. The government
Americans are fed up with
dried up.
They're not going to tell you that 75 to 80% of Americans, this is everything Trump is doing, he's doing exactly. He's had more success in 200 days than any president in U.S. history. And the vast majority of Americans, that's why we voted for Donald Trump. But I do question, even CNN, believe it or not, has been somewhat fair to Trump lately. Now, it's media. All right, they've all got their boneheaded pundits out there, and it's still going to be an ongoing battle. And there's MSDNC, but for the most part, people aren't watching that stuff anymore. All right, very few people are watching that garbage anymore. So I question whether or not the media would actually. I'm not sure the media would go along with something like Carville is espousing 100%. I'm not convinced they would. A lot of them would, but there are millions that won't. So it would be, what we don't want, ladies and gentlemen, is we do not want to find out. We don't want to get to that point that what Carville is talking about is actually happening, because you have huge problems in this country if that's the point, because the country will fight. And Carville's got to know that. Or does he? If he knows it and he's saying it, that's even louder than what he's saying now. Hey, Paul, again, tell people where to get that 15% off, brother.
Yeah, go to sotgu.com. Sign up for any of the home study distance learning programs. Put in AAR as a promo code. You'll save 15%. Get started today.
Can I get the 15 off myself, too?
Sure, go crazy, brother.
Sounds like a plan. Get some of the family involved. Paul Markel, student of the gun. We'll see you on Sunday's Armed American Radio's Monstercast. Thank you very much for being here. We appreciate everything that you do for the show. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to head to the GOA convention. I'll see you on the radio Sunday. Enjoy your day. Stay safe. We'll see you on the radio.
All clear. That does it.
Roger that, brother. Appreciate your help. And say bye to everybody. We haven't cut your mic yet.
Adios, everyone.
Adios, amigos and amigas. I will see you at the Gun Owners of America convention. If you're going to be there, make sure to stop by. Well, you'll want to come by the car booth. You'll want to come by Patriot Mobile, GOA booth, 2A Bourbon. Stop over there. Always love going over there because he has free samples. What's wrong with that, right? So we'll be hanging out with Tim over there for a little while. But stop by and say hi, everybody. Shake some paws. I'll see you on Saturday at the GOA in Knoxville, and we'll be back in the seat here at the ranch north of Atlanta on Sunday for the Monstercast. Thanks for tuning in today. Enjoy your weekend. What's left of it. Stay safe.